Search crews attempting to locate that missing submersible off the coast of Newfoundland in Canada have reportedly heard banging sounds near the wreck of the Titanic. Now, what we know, 5 people were on board when contact was lost with this thing. It's estimated there's about 24 hours of oxygen left. Now, Rex Patrick, who I've interviewed many times, is a former senator, of course, from South Australia. He's a submariner and joins me from his home in Adelaide. What do you make of the development about the knocking sounds, Rex? And would they have been picked up on some sort of a buoy that had been dropped by aircraft to listen in, would they?
Yeah, look, we know that the Canadian Air Force and the US Air Force are operating in the area. They will be dropping sonobuoys. They're a little device that you drop from the aircraft. They deploy a parachute, land in the water, and then they can listen. And they're very sensitive. They're able to find submarines, or that's the intention for these sonobuoys. And once you hear a noise from the sonobuoy, you can then lay a buoy pattern that then also gives you directional information, and you can do cross-fixing to actually locate the general position of the noise source.
Rex, the subs you served on were obviously a lot bigger than that submersible. Can you begin to imagine what it would be like trapped in there with 4 other people, either on the bottom of the ocean floor or floating somewhere or halfway? Can you imagine how frightening and incredibly it'd be just so bad for you? How would you describe it?
Look, I've been in a submarine where we've had difficulties, but at least in a naval submarine, you know that there are backups upon backups. You know that if the automatic system fails, there's a manual system, and if the manual system fails, you can go to a local system. And indeed, for things like returning to the surface, there's a number of things you can do to enable that to occur. And you also know that if for some reason you miss a broadcast where you don't turn up, the Navy will immediately call what they call a submiss, hit the red button, 50 things will start happening, and then some duration later, you then get what's called a sub-sunk being declared, and 50 more things happen. And none of that was available on this particular submarine. So I'm not sure, I'm actually pretty sure I would never have got onto the submarine. But look, these are brave people. They've got on board. They'll now be I think probably sitting on the bottom, and the air will be becoming stale. They will have gone through all sorts of psychological trauma. Even the fact that that they know that someone is searching for them, because that they will have missed surfacing. So the search, they'll know there's a search happening. The difficulty in their mind will be trying to comprehend how anything is going to be able to get down there and bring that vessel back up to the surface, because there's no other way to retrieve these poor people.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I mean, even if they do find it and it's on the bottom, is there anything capable of getting that thing without its own power back to the surface?
Well, my answer to that is not likely something that's immediately in the area. You know, when a submarine, a naval submarine goes down, we know that the United States, for example, can get a rescue vessel, you know, to an area within 24 hours. That's kind of their operational goal. But their rescue vessels only go down to a few hundred metres, and they are able to latch onto the submarine and open a hatch and allow the submarine crew to transfer into the rescue vessel. This particular submarine does not have such a hatch, and in fact, my understanding is you can't open that submarine from the inside. You have to be on the surface in order to be able to open the hatch to get the people out. So it's hugely problematic. We've got a relatively heavy vessel in very, very deep water. We haven't even found it yet, and basically we've got about 24 hours before we understand the oxygen runs out.
Rex, thank you so much for coming and giving us an insight into what it might be like on such an awful story. Thank you very much.